Hello, my friend. On today's episode, I'm welcoming back to the podcast Tina Morin. She's a Unicorn Society member, founder of MSC Strength and Conditioning in Massachusetts. She's back on the podcast to talk about her journey living into years 9 and 10 of owning a gym. And we talk about how she's delegated things to her team and gone from being on the floor 20, 30 hours a week to only 3 hours a week. We also talk about how she avoids that kind of shiny object syndrome of wanting to change the business all the time and really stay focused on being really great at one or two things. So if you've been in this game for a little while, like Tina and myself, this is a great conversation for you about how to manage yourself and your business when you've been in the game for a while. So if that's you, or that's going to be you sometime soon, keep on listening, my friend. Let's dive in. Hello, fitness business nerds. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Business for Unicorns podcast. Before we jump into today's very exciting episode, I want to give you a quick reminder that our friends at Kilo are doing great work. We know it is incredibly difficult to find software to help run your gym. It's hard to find a place to host your website that does great work. It's hard to find a place to get marketing automations to make your lead follow-up easier. It's hard to get a place that does booking and billing for your gym. And Kilo does it all in one place, and they do it really well, my friends. So instead of duct taping together 20 different pieces of software to run your gym, go try Kilo. Go to usekilo.com, let them know we sent you, and you won't be disappointed. We use it. Many of our Unicorn Society members use it, and we shout it out from the rooftops because we think they're fucking great. So go check them out. Which brings me to today's episode, which is also a dear friend of ours on the podcast now for the second time, been a Unicorn Society member forever, the founder of MSC Strength and Conditioning in Massachusetts. It's Tina Morin. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was just looking before we started recording this that the last time you're on was January 2023. So for our audience who maybe has joined us since, you just do a little intro to who the heck are you? What is MSC Strength and Conditioning in Massachusetts? Tell us about you.
Sure. My name is Tina Morin. I own MSC Strength and Conditioning, which we've been rebranding because it's Morin Strength and Conditioning. And people ask me, so it's very redundant to be Morin Strength and Conditioning. Really soon. It's a small group training facility in Weymouth, Massachusetts. We have small group training, small group private training, 8-to-1 clients to coach, and also private training. And we're a one-trick pony. That's all we do. And I'm trying to not do more than that. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
And we're just a weird, fun little place, great community, do all sorts of fun community events, have lots of local partnerships with other local business owners, and we just have a really great time. I've been in Unicorn Society since 2019.
Wow.
I know, isn't that weird?
That is wild. It's wild. I forget that I've been doing it that long. That's so exciting. Well, thanks for coming back, Tina. We always love to have you on the podcast because, you're reaching you're 9 or 10 as a gym owner, right? And that's kind of the topic we wanted to cover today. It's like, what do you do when you get to years 9 and 10? Because I think, the impulse many of us have, and we'll dive into what your impulses have been, but I'll speak for myself, is that I found it hard, and I see this in our Unicorn Society members as well, as you've been a gym owner longer and longer, it's hard to stay focused and motivated to keep doing some version of the same thing over and over again. Sometimes we get the impulse to chase shiny objects, to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes we get the impulse to try things we probably shouldn't try just because we're a little bored. So sometimes we hold on to tasks and things longer than we need to. We don't do enough delegating that far into our work. And the good news is that today I want to talk about all the ways that you've been handling that stuff really well, how you've been delegating incredibly, how you've been staying focused and trying to prevent yourself from chasing shiny objects, and like all of us, sometimes more successfully than others. And you continue to be that amazing one-trick pony who does one thing really well, and that's hard. Because many of us as entrepreneurs, we have that brain where we're like new. And to be 9-10 years in and be able to continue to stay focused, that's what I want to talk about today. So talk to me about the last year or so of the gym. What have your challenges been when it comes to staying focused?
I mean, the challenge is me. And to be clear, I have not been focused, but my BFU coaches have certainly helped me stay on track. So,
Yep.
As you get further down the road, you think, well, maybe I don't need coaching, and just this is caution to all that you do because these things happen. But I've been getting a little bit more of my time back. I'm basically off the training floor completely now. I have coached 3 hours a week.
Wow.
I used to and I would kind of live and die by this. I was always the gym that had part-time coaches, and I thought that I had one full-timer, and I felt that that was the best way, and it was for many years. Um, because those people were incredibly committed. They were not burnt out. They loved it, and it was a passion project. And so I've kind of reorganized my entire gym to have full timers, which has afforded me too much time to noodle with my thoughts and completely change things. When really, I should just be focusing on the same things, which we've kind of been doing the past quarter or so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love you're exposing here that, getting that time off the floor and delegating and going from part-time to full-time trainers and letting your team really run the place most of the time, is fantastic. And it's also a double-edged sword, right? It means that you have a lot of extra time. You have this free time to decide how are you going to spend it instead. And so before we get to that part of it, can you just maybe take a few steps back and say, how did you manage that transition? Because many of our listeners, the dream is to get off the floor more. Many of our listeners are still working 20, 30 plus hours on the floor and not having enough time at all to work on the business. Mm-hmm. And you went from being on the floor a lot to like only 3 hours a week, mm-hmm. from part-time trainers to mostly full-time trainers. So can you just walk through what some of the steps were that got you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have the breakdown to break through. It's not that I don't love coaching, but I really was feeling like I needed to do the next thing.
Yeah.
And we had my head coach had left to move away and to do her own thing, and it just was it kind of was a perfect storm of things that allowed me to make that decision to maybe I could hire someone more full time. And we had the right people in place, and the people that were part-timers were excited about doing that. So it kind of all happened by accident, and my hand was a little bit forced, but also you just have to buckle down and look at the numbers and make sure that it can financially work for you, and or make a plan to make it financially work for you, and then just do it if you want to do it. And the reality is, as awful as it didn't feel awful, but no one fucking cared.
No, of course.
Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Like, oh yeah, I'll work with Candace. She's amazing. I'm like, people that are way better than you, which I have,
yep.
And I always have, and being able to transition them to other people was actually alarmingly simple.
Yep.
But you have to look at the numbers and not just dive in with both feet, which is what I had done previously. Like prior to COVID, I did a similar thing and wasn't ready for it. So
yeah,
you have to be ready for it.
I think those are two really important ones, right? One is just being financially ready, making sure that you can afford to pay people to be on the floor instead of you, which means you have to have a decent enough profit margin that your pay as an owner is really not about you being a trainer on the floor, but it's about you just getting profit and paying yourself either a salary for running the place and or profit distributions. And it's another podcast, but I think it's a great thing to consider is like making sure that financially you can live into this role and afford it. I think the second thing you pointed out is so smart because so many people are struggle to delegate and work themselves off the floor because they think their clients will revolt. And in some cases, I can see that that's possible for your clients to be upset when you hire people who are just really inexperienced and really green and think they're going to take your place. But your point is I think a really great way to go, which is hire people that are better than you. Hire people that come with some experience, that come with some charisma, that come with, a big toolbox. And that way the transition from working with you, the owner, to them is not just okay, but maybe it's better. maybe they're coming in with more energy than, and excitement to be in that job than you are because you've been doing it for so long. Right. So I think that's the silver lining I think people don't consider is that this could be even better for your clients, but you have to hire people who they're stoked to work with. So that means, it might be tough if you're hiring people who were just the intern and now it's possible, but I think it's a little tougher of a road. Yeah. So let me just talk a little bit about delegating a little bit more. So, right. So you went from part-time to these full-time trainers, you worked yourself off the floor. Clearly you're delegating the stuff on the floor for them, but what else have you had your team start to own for you over the last year or so?
And a lot of things. And I would say it's still in transition. I'm doing it very
of course,
because that's where I've also made big mistakes. I'm really good at like fucking up a bunch of stuff and then learning.
That's what we do, right? That's what we do, right? That's how we learn. We got to mess up to learn. Yeah. So you're doing it right.
It's been a slow transition, and no one has like full reins of anything just yet, but we have a plan to get there, which I think is the step number one. Which
great.
I believe it was even a couple of weeks ago because I just redid it in one of our Unicorn Society weekly trainings. You did like a roadmap,
yes,
training guide where you started with, I started with what skills these people need, and then
Yes.
broke it down into like a 4 month training plan. So we're in the midst of that. So that was step one, was figuring out what are the things, the skills that these people need, and what are the things that I still like to do.
Yeah.
Because that's, something I often don't do things like other people do things. So
Yep.
things that people would delegate, I don't. Example was the past week and into this week, I'm sitting on the phone with literally 70 members because people want to do goal reviews and I want to do them all and I enjoy it and it's giving me lots of energy. So
Yep.
I had to figure out what it is that I actually like to do and what gives me energy and what I did want to get rid of. And then there are some things that were by necessity. So some sales, which a lot of people have a hard time getting rid of first. I also enjoy doing that, but there's only one of me and I would like to go away sometimes. So
Yes.
when you have the first sell happen when you're on vacation, it rules. So
It feels so good, right? It's like magic. It's like, wait, my business is growing and I'm not even there. Like that's the magic. Yeah.
so we've done that. I'm working towards my head coach actually managing the coaches,
Mm,
which she's just inherently kind of done. It's just who she is. So that was just another great hire, but we have a whole process to support her, which we're kind of getting through and starting with that. Those are things I would never thought I would have gotten rid of. Just a lot of marketing, which I'm
hmm
very particular about. But I, again, hired someone that has that skill set. And those people challenge me. So you have to have, I found that I have to have the people that are going to argue with me about the thing,
Yes.
which
Yep.
is, fun and not fun. But it's having people actually write and edit emails. I still do most of the emails, but social media content, I don't even touch it. I have the ideas, but I don't touch it. They video me doing weird stuff, but then I leave.
Yep.
It's just things that they were so precious to me before, so particular about, that I realized, it's better when things change, and then also better when people have more ideas and just know more about it than you do. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's really well said. I think that's a great roadmap for our listeners, right? And I love that you started with, you got to get clear on what you like to do. Like, you're the boss here. You get to wave a magic wand and make the job that you want, right? If you can, like I said, if you check the box, if you can afford to do this, if you can afford to step away from being on the floor, then you get to decide what stays on your plate and what goes, right? So doing the stuff that is fun and exciting for you, whether that's client check-ins or it maybe some people like marketing, you like the sales, right? But I think then deciding, okay, well, what is all the stuff I'm going to delegate? What is the stuff I need to hand off to my team? And what skills do they need to be able to do that well? And can I hire people with those skills on day one? Or can I train them over time? And you've done a little bit of both. You've hired some people that have some skills like marketing,
mhm.
and you have a development plan to teach people the skills they need over several months, to be good at doing the things they don't come to skills with, which is fantastic. Like, that's such a great roadmap for developing your team, because it allows you to really honor the things that you want to spend your time on, and allows them to grow and feel like they have a path for development in your gym, which is fantastic. Good for you. That's exciting. So
Hey there, Business Unicorns podcast listeners. I'm just making absolutely sure you have already gotten your free, instantly downloadable copy of my new book, The Little Book of Gym Marketing Secrets. You can find a link to download it in the show notes, or you can go to gymmarketingsecretsbook.com. I worked super hard to make sure this is a less than a 30-minute read and is a comprehensive overview of all the things you need to do to grow your gym, get more leads, more clients, and importantly, change more lives. Again, find the link in the show notes where you can download your free copy at gymmarketingsecretsbook.com. And now back to the podcast.
that's exciting. So what do you find yourself, obviously you mentioned already the things that you like to do, but what do you find is like the most important use of your time these days, since you're not on the floor?
right now it's training the team, which is something,
Hmm.
I love them all. They won't listen to this, but maybe if they do, I love them, but I don't like training people to do these things. And it's
Yeah.
previously, we come from our gym was kind of the culture of like, are you self-sufficient? Like, use your brain and get the things done. Not in a bad way, where I'm not like a hardo, but like, just like, okay, like, use your head. I trust you, do the things. And
Yes.
so it is actually really hard for me to slowly train people because I get distracted and I want to do other
Hmm.
things. So
Yeah.
that is, though it is not the thing I want to do the most right now, it is the most important thing that I'm trying to take time to do and make sure that it's on the schedule every week and we don't skip it, which it happens, it gets hard. But and
Yeah.
then the other thing that's been fun for me and is a good use of my time, because it is one of my superpowers, is relationship building with even more businesses in the community, getting out and doing that kind of stuff, which I really love to do. And
Great.
it's also helpful lead generating, over time.
Yeah, that's a great role for someone like an owner who's charismatic and likes being social like you, is like go get more leads and develop partnerships. That's amazing. Yeah, I think that you described the transition so well that I think a lot of owners have to go through, right? When people start a gym, often like they are the key individual contributor. They're the main head coach. They're the person who's training the most. They have relations with all the clients. And to go from that position to the position where your success is not about your individual contributions. Your success is about the contributions of your team. So your role goes from individual contributor to a manager of a bunch of individual contributors, right? And your success is training them and developing them and holding them accountable and all of that, which is a big transition. And some people learn that they don't like that. Some people learn that they don't like being a manager or a people developer. And so I think for any listeners out there who are like, yeah, I'd rather just stay on the floor and coach my clients, great. That's an option for you. And you might want to find someone who wants to do that other stuff instead, right? Because your business will only grow if you have the ability to kind of continue to leverage your time. And if you are making the choice to be on the floor 20, 30 hours a week, good for you if that's what you love spending your time on. But someone else has got to be leveraging their time to help grow the gym and get more people in the door. But I love that you said that, Tina, because I think it's going through the minds of a lot of folks who listen. Let me switch gears a little bit, because I know also we started talking about this at the beginning of the podcast, which is when you're this far in, 9, 10 years, and you have an entrepreneurial creative mind like you do, and so many people who own businesses, it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to go to a conference or watch a video or read a blog or listen to a podcast and be like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. And we just chase the next idea, and it's fun because it's new. So these days, where do you find yourself distracted the most? And how do you everywhere? Yeah. And how do you rein that in? Like, how do you discipline yourself to not chase every shiny object at this point?
I have you all. That is why.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? That's part of it. Yeah.
You have to, shocker, I have ADHD and it's extreme. And
Yeah.
I have systems and one of them is having people that remind me that this is a stupid idea, because I will literally, January, I was like going for a walk outside. I took some time off and like went for a walk, and I was like, I'm going to change the model completely. I'm going to get group training back in. And I came in to meet my team, and they were like, we should talk to someone about all of it. I just want to add, I was wanting to add back something that was not successful and was a pain in the ass. It could be maybe successful one day, but also I don't need it. It's just because I saw on the horizon that I don't have the time now. I will soon, but I see on the horizon that I might have 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like basically a whole different gym situation. But working with Business for Unicorns, honestly, there's all of your coaches ask a lot of the questions that make you answer your own questions, of course.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so your small group training isn't profitable? Oh, so you're not getting leads in? Oh, so I'm like,
yes.
Got it. But also it's going to pull away from what you want to grow, right? And I do a 3 and a 5 year plan every quarter. We look at our long-term plan, and in it says stay the course. That's what I say at the top of my thing. That's my system, is to have, you hate Post-it notes, I know, but I have them everywhere just to remind me.
I think they're good for that. That's a good use of Post-it notes.
But I just have to stay the course. I love what we do. We do it really well, and our community is amazing and it's growing, and I just had to do that thing. But if I didn't have checks and balances in place to remind me to just keep on doing the thing, I wouldn't. I would open a jazzercise studio.
Honestly, that does sound fun, right? I would be right along with you. I miss step aerobics. Like give me a good old fashioned step aerobics.
There's a step aerobics like resurgence in Boston. There's a woman.
Oh, really?
Yes, me and Jess.
I used to do that shit in college all the time. It was so fun. Well, listen, I think you rattled off a really great list of checks and balances, right? If you want to stay focused, for long term as an owner, and focus on being really good at one thing, right? Which is what you've done so well, and all the best gyms do, is they're good at one thing, maybe two, right? Is have some checks and balances. Maybe that's a coach working with a group like us, or anyone out there that can hold you accountable, having a team that can hold you accountable and challenge you, like is comfortable challenging you as the owner. That's huge. Having systems in place, like we use Frameworks for Unicorns, which is like a kind of a version of EOS. So you have quarterly projects, you have annual goals, and you have like a roadmap for where we're going. And that is a great grounding mechanism for you to say like, nope, stay the course. We have a plan. And then obviously, just being honest about why you want to make big sweeping changes like that, right? And the minute you just ask that, probe that a little bit and say, okay, well, is this because we're not getting leads doing the other thing? Is the other thing not profitable? Like, why do we need that to add the complexity? Then you're like, oh wait, I don't need it. It doesn't take much probing to poke holes in some ideas. We have to allow ourselves to be like open to that kind of probing and questioning. And so I think that's a perfect example of what I think more of us need to do. Listen, I'm not immune to this at all. We go through this challenge all the time at Business for Unicorns, even still, of all the things we could do. It's really hard to stay focused on, no, let's just serve this one person really well doing this one thing. It's tough. It's still tough. Yeah. So let's just turn to maybe in our final few minutes here, just a little advice for our listeners. So for our folks listening who or maybe where you were like a year or two ago, where they're still on the floor a lot, maybe working with part-time folks, where do they get started if they want to have, a little bit more time back, a little more time to work on the business, if they went off the floor a little bit more? Where do they start that process?
I mean, where I started just as an experience share was talking to my team and what they wanted to do. And I had part-timers, but some of them were very part-time. Like they worked a lot of hours. And when I had, when my head coach had left and there was hours up for grabs, it makes you realize, and again, when you've done something for 9 years, I never had the same job for 9 years prior to this. And by design, because I don't like to do the same thing. So you have to be really clear on what you want and be willing to maybe take a little bit of a pay cut for a while to have someone do the thing, but also ask them what they want to do. And then the big thing there after that is don't build a job for them. Make sure you're building the jobs that you need. So I could have done that. My advice would be do that first. I didn't do that. I did it the other way. It worked out fine. But I spent a lot of time with Mike Baranis building roles that I needed, not what people could do.
Can we just pause on that for a second, Tina? That is such a huge one. Just say that again, because I think it's so critical.
Building the org chart that you want, not based on what your organization looks like now, and not for specific people, but for the role that you actually need the person to do.
Yeah, and I see this happen all the time. And I've done this many times. I probably will make this mistake again, even though I know better, right? Which is we love the people on our team. We love the people we work with, and we want to develop them. So we want them to have jobs that they're excited about. So we ask them, what do you like? What do you not like? What are you good at? What are you not good at? We craft these like really unique, bespoke jobs just for the people on our team, instead of zooming out and thinking, okay, what does this business need? What are the roles that make the most sense that are going to support the long-term viability and growth of this business? And make the role first and have people apply for the role, grow into the role, right? And I think that the difference in the outcomes you get from path A to path B there are extreme. Because the minute you create that, like, I'll share from my experience, the times that I've created that really like bespoke, specific role for that person, I think putting them first, the minute they leave, I'm screwed. Because I have to find their twin, right? Like I have to find someone who has that unique combination of weird things that I put together that don't really go into a normal skill set, right? They just happen to be that person's quirks. And so, but when I do the second thing and I create a role that's based on a collection of, relatively easily attainable skill sets that are all complementary, then I can plug and play anyone into that position because I can hire for the role. And so anyway, I just want to pause there because it's such a critical lesson. But yeah, keep on going. Where else do they start?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wish make lots of mistakes, and I wish I did that first, but it did end up working out for me. And then, take the time to, whether it's 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, find the person and actually train them slowly, and don't just assume that they know the things and know that they're not going to do the things the way you want to do them, or the way that you would do them necessarily. And that's okay, and it's better in most cases. In my experience, it's been a lot better. And then just, I don't know, I think you have to get clear on what you want out of life. And I'm so used to grinding, and I was grinding, and then the gym was going great, and then COVID, and then you're grinding. And it's like your body just gets used to that feeling. And that's not how you grow as a human or as an owner of a gym anyway. And I had to look at like what I actually want to do and what do I actually kind of hate doing, but don't want to admit. And it's not that I hate coaching, but like, it's really draining me lately, and I don't have based on what's going on in my personal life, I don't have the mental capacity to do it. It was super hard to admit, but you have to just get honest with yourself, and it's okay to not want to do the thing that you did 10 years ago. That's okay.
Beautiful.
It was hard for me to admit those things, and I didn't for a long time.
Yeah, beautifully said, my friend. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Last question. So for folks out there who are also guilty of shiny object syndrome, who find themselves wanting to play with their food and make changes to the business without really thinking about it, what's advice for those folks? Like, how do you overcome that?
Get creative in other ways. I've
Yeah,
got creative with how we're doing our goal reviews, and it's been really fun for me. I've also gotten like level 10 psycho on different marketing. So like for the
yep,
same thing, but doing way different things for the thing. So our so small group, but we're trying all sorts of shit marketing wise, and that's fun for me, but it's also yielding results. So you
yeah,
can, there's lots of different ways that you can do things new and exciting that
yeah,
aren't, changing your model completely or
yeah.
adding a weird program that's going to be time intensive that's not that profitable, which is what my toxic trait is. Things that are not profitable and super time consuming.
Yeah. You've also found other, so I love that advice, get creative in other areas of your business, but there's also, you found some creative outlets in your personal life as well. You don't have to share all of them, but I mean, you found some other hobbies and things you've been working on. Has that been helpful?
Yes. Yeah, I started playing the drums poorly.
Yep.
So, but it's, yeah, I mean, you make time for yourself, which as gym owners, we don't do. So I've been making a lot of time for my family at any time of the day, which is incredibly rewarding. I take drums on Tuesday nights. It's pretty sweet.
Love it.
I got a puppy that's occupying all of my time, just potty
Yep.
breaks all day.
They have
So
a way, of doing that.
yeah, you fill your time.
Well, I think that's great because I think, we forget that, our businesses are not the only outlet we have for our life force and our creativity. And if we're someone that has an entrepreneurial, creative brain, itchy brain, right, that wants to go chase shiny objects and squirrels, right, that like there's other ways we can do that in our life. We can do that not in our business. Let our business be great at one, maybe two things and stay the course at making it the best it can be. And if we really need the creativity of trying new shit, maybe that's in our personal life. Maybe it's playing the drums. That's a great example. Well, thanks, Tina. This has been so fun. I mean, you're always such a great inspiration because you come to these podcasts ready to talk about like the good and the bad. You're like, hey, I'm not great at this, but I'm trying, like, and I am good at this. And this is the lessons I've learned, right? And that's what we hope this podcast can be for folks, is just a real honest look at what it looks like to succeed and thrive with all the ups and downs of gym ownership. So thank you. How do people learn more about you or follow your gym? Where are you on the interwebs?
We are on the interwebs everywhere you find the interwebs. On Instagram at MSC_strength. Our website is mscstrength.com. It's a Kilo website. It's really good.
Yeah, shout out to Kilo.
Kilo. And my personal Instagram is just full of dogs. It is Tina V. Morin on Instagram and Facebook.
I love it.
Just
Awesome. Well,
You're not going to see anything about puppies on there.
just all puppies. Well, listen, we all need a little puppy in our life. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your wisdom. Thanks for sharing all your wins and your lessons learned. I really appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll have you back on again to talk about what's next. But thank you, my friend. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.
Bye.